Hey, Lou, want to hear some plant jokes? So, got a couple here for you. Why was the gardener so embarrassed? He wet his plants. Now they get better. All right, ready for the next one? What do you call a cheerleading herb? You'll never get it. An encouragement. Get it? Encouragement. No, I gotta stop. There's one more. Why do herbs use Tinder? Any idea? No? For Netflix and dill. Alright team, welcome back to another vlog, and this week, yes, you've already seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title, you've clicked on the video because it's a super hot topic. It's a super hot take at the minute, as my American friends would say, and it is the Game Changers vlog. So much so that if I had $1 for every person that has asked me about the Game Changers over the past 2 weeks, I'd be a very, very wealthy man. I've even made some notes because I want to tackle it. Again, this is just unscripted, a bit short and sweet. I've just got some key points because I want to address them. These are the things that came up the most, and I think it's really important to get this information out there because there's a lot of misconceptions, there's a lot of biases, and there's a bit of misinformation about the Game Changers, and also, more importantly, what is the Game Changers about? It's about the plant-based approach, the plant-based nutritional interventions that is apparently the way of the future and superior. So, straight off the bat, the first thing that we need to look at is that it's not superior. That's not my opinion, that is the truth, okay? So, all emotion out of this. Yes, I do eat meat. Have I been plant-based? Well, I think we all can argue at some point we have been plant-based, yes, because it depends on what period of time that is in terms of, you know, did you just not eat meat for 24-hour periods? Well then, you know, all right, maybe you went plant-based for 24 hours. Did you die? No. Did you feel better? Okay, it's all contextual. What I mean by that is, well, first of all, it's not any better than just someone who eats meat or someone who has a certain nutritional or dietary preference, because it's more important to understand the underlying principles, which are firstly energy balance, so understanding how many calories you require for your goal to even function, to even be healthy, and then vitally the calories, what make up the calories, the macronutrients, the proteins, the fats, the carbohydrates, the fiber. This is more important because we can get protein, fats and carbohydrates and fiber and our vitamins and minerals, our micronutrients from multiple sources. So really, what is more important than whether you're plant-based, whether you eat meat, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, whatever box you want to put yourself in, you can still make it work as long as you are getting the adequate amount of calories from energy, and then also a macronutrient profile, protein, fats and carbohydrates that align with your goal, are that more advantageous of health. So that is getting in sufficient amounts of protein, carbohydrate for energy, protein for muscle repair, but also all your bodily functions, and fats for hormonal production, amongst other things, at the most simple, basic terms. And our micronutrients, yes, we're going to get from our fruits and vegetables. So most of us are going to eat those foods anyway. Or you can have something which is called plant-centric. So someone, for example, who may focus on getting more of their nutrients via plants, but still supplements with animal-based or meat products to help get in their protein, or perhaps because they like to eat meat products. They like the taste, or they like it because it's convenient. Okay, so that's point number one. It's not superior. This is what you need to know. Okay, the second point is there's no legitimate evidence that suggests that plant-based is superior. There's bias evidence, there's biased views, there's biased opinions, but there's no conclusive hard evidence or meta-analysis, so that's group analysis over years of studies that actually say, compelling research say, you will perform better, you will be healthier, you will be a superior human being if you have plants. No, doesn't exist. Okay, so what we've got to look at here is that when we watch things on Netflix, when we watch things on television, social media, I mean, look, this is designed to get views. It's easy, it's shiny, it's what people want, it's in your face. People are not reading the journal articles, people are not deciphering those journal articles. So generally, when you get this information from sources which are very mainstream, it can be often tainted. It's not always true. It's like watching the news and believing everything you hear. There is truth in it, but a lot of the time it is a version of the truth. It is a biased view, okay? Because all the information has not been there, perhaps it's not been analyzed, assessed, etc. Although there are, again, truths to it, it's not completely take it as the holy grail. So that is also something we need to remember in this. So again, if you're one of those people who've been watching this and go, oh no, it's I've got to go plant-based, it's superior, it's better because so-and-so said so, or my favorite celebrity, no, wrong. That is not evidence, okay? That is an opinion, that is a biases, and of course the program is biased towards plant-centric or being plant-based, so keep that in mind as well. Again, always be skeptical, always ask questions. I've said this throughout my other videos too. Okay, the third point is, again, I've touched base on this before, was the underlying principle. So it's more important to understand energy balance and understand where protein comes from, what protein does, how much you need of it, and understanding the difference between complete proteins, etc., and incomplete. So when we talk about a complete protein, we talk about something which has all the essential amino acids within it. So we have non-essential amino acids and essential amino acids. So essential amino acids are found in animal and dairy products. Hence why every time you have those foods or you get protein from those sources, it's complete. It's a lot easier to acclimate protein because generally if you get it from meat, you're eating muscle protein, if you like, as a simple example, and dairy products again have that amino acid profile which create a complete protein. Now, when you're plant-based, you can certainly still get your protein in, but it's a little bit more challenging. So it requires another level of education. So again, this is why you need to understand or have a decent understanding of the principles. Because if you're going to get a complete protein, you need to combine things like, for example, black beans and brown rice, some of which contain some of the amino acids, the essential amino acids, and some of the others. So together, they make a complete protein. So for someone who's vegan-based or plant-based, if you want to call it that, it's a little bit more challenging. You have to have a little bit more nous about you. And then the secondary thing is the bioavailability. So bioavailability, when I talk about this, we're talking about how readily absorbed, how well can the body absorb these nutrients into the body, okay? Now, animal products and from protein sources are absorbed much more effectively, okay? Plant-based is not as effective without going into the nitty-gritty because it doesn't absorb it, doesn't recognize it as well for the body. Again, I'm not going to go into the mechanistics because it is beyond my scope to a degree and my understanding. However, there is legitimate evidence that suggests that, again, getting your protein from animal-based products or animal-based sources is more potent. It's easier to get, it's easier for the body to absorb and digest and actually take from those food products. So it is arguable that if you're going to take a plant-based approach, you would need to eat even more protein or eat a higher intake of protein just to cover and make sure that you're getting sufficient amounts of protein in. And again, just because someone has plant-based doesn't mean they're automatically going to get, these superpowers or they're going to lose lots of weight, because you can still gain weight by eating plant-based or eating clean foods, because at the end of the day, energy balance is king. So having an understanding of, again, these basic principles is going to give you a bit more clarity and probably a better space to be able to watch and be a little bit more skeptical when you hear things and make better assessments and think critically rather than binary or be very biased and go, well, I've seen this now because so-and-so said it and that's what they say, so I must do this. The fourth point I want to make is the biased views. Now, again, the program was biased. Anything on TV, Netflix, it's designed to get views. It's designed to get attention. The people, the athletes who are plant-based, you know, and phenomenal as they may be, this is great, but remember, they are biased towards it. Perhaps the way they've edited it together as well, they might have sort of shortened, shifted some of their words, and, you know, they've cut it at a point where it's like, wow, yeah, perhaps that athlete or that person didn't mean it in that context. But yes, certainly, they are going to be pro plant-based because they believe in it, they do it, and it's working for them. And again, those people are not necessarily rubbishing meat, it's just that they're saying, hey, this works for me. But that saying, hey, it works for me is not the same as saying, hey, this is what you should do because I'm doing it and this is for your goals. And that's not what a lot of them said, even though a few of them may have said that in a way of sorts. So understanding that there's biased views towards this as well. Okay? Now, just to tag along with that, there was a few athletes who said, you know, I didn't think I could do it, and then I went plant-based and I did it, or when I went plant-based I achieved X, Y, and Z and I performed at my best. And it was like, oh, so it was the plant-based that did that, did it? It wouldn't have been all of those years of dedication, of training, of skill acquisition, of rest, recovery, you know, all of those other things that make up an athlete. But no, it was the plant-based. When I went plant-based, that's when it worked. It's like, come on, man, like, you're making yourself look stupid. Like, anyone who's got a brain, anyone who can actually think logically, no, it's not just the food. Yes, food is a large part, and it's a huge part of an athlete's profile, and, you know, it will have a massive impact on their performance, but it's not the be-all and end-all. A lot of the time, years of acquisition of skill and practicing and working on your craft, and again, as long as they're getting good quality food, their protein, fats, and carbohydrates from good sources, well, it's kind of irrelevant where it comes from, because if they're still getting the sufficient amount of protein, fats, and carbs, but one is plant-centric and one is from meat, well, it's two in the same to a varying degree, apart from if we get into the very specific details of it. So again, it's not really fair to say that it was the plant-based that, you know, was responsible for that result. And again, some people are going to feel better on plant-based, and that's absolutely fine, whether that's placebo or not. But saying that that was responsible for that goal, I'm sorry, I think that's just a load of bullshit. So something to keep in mind as well. There was also a few other statements made as well. I think one was about a cow, or something about, like, you don't see a cow eating meat, but it's bulky. Again, stupidity. It kind of, that whoever said that, making themselves kind of insult their own intelligence. We are not cows. We may have genetic similarities when you look at the actual makeup, but we do not have 4 stomachs, we do not go moo, and we do not have the same digestive processes, enzymes, or anything of the sort. Last time I checked, the species we are is human, so we are different. Just because a dog sleeps 16 hours doesn't mean we need 16 hours. We're different. So again, understand that. Again, analogies that sound cool when they're said off the cuff, but when we really think about it, probably don't make sense. So have a bit of an awareness about you and what people say, and not just because it's said with clout on a TV program by someone who's, you know, achieved something reputable, does it mean it's true? Okay, celebrity status was my next point. There's a lot of people there that, you know, like Arnold Schwarzenegger was on there, you had Lewis Hamilton, countless other athletes, you know, endorsing or perhaps talking about it, not necessarily saying it was the best, but, you know, endorsing that lifestyle. So again, it's going to get some traction. You know, people are going to believe it. People are very gullible. They're going to see this, they're going to go, yeah, well, if they're doing it, we're doing it. And I think it was Kai Green came out, and all of a sudden he did this plant-based. He was all of a sudden plant-based within a week, and he was like the bodybuilder's guide. It's like, come on, man, that's a money spin. Anyone with half a brain, what, all of a sudden you're plant-based because this comes out? So people are just riding the coattails of, you know, the influence or the momentum of whatever's current at the moment, and they'll just switch with the times, and when keto comes popular, that'll be a thing again. So keep in mind that, again, with status comes power as well. Now, looking at segregations in terms of, a lot of people want to be put in a box, they want to be part of a community these days. Plant-based is no different. So you get a lot of people, you know, say, I'm plant-based, cool. You know, a lot of other people watching go, I like what that person's about, cool, I want to be plant-based, and we'll all stay here, and we're plant-based, woo, and everyone else is fucking inferior and all this, oh, you bastards. right? And then you'll have these other crew and it's like, we're keto, it's so much better, man, like we run on fats and blah, 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 you know. And then you've got like the omnivore, I don't eat meat, I'm a bloody caveman, raw. It's like, can we all just put our dicks down for a second and stop measuring, because it doesn't actually matter. Because you can eat all of those foods, you can encompass all of those categories of food, you can stick with one, whatever you like, and you can still be just as good, just as jacked, just as shredded, just as this. There may be contingencies. It comes down to your personal ethical beliefs. It comes down to your preferences, your dietary requirements, whether you've got dietary interventions where, for example, you don't have foods that agree with you, or you might have a medical condition or whatever it might be. But most people are not going to fall into that category, and most of us can definitely choose to have variety. So I think coming from a place of, this is food, and going by the more important principles of, well, most of my food is going to come from whole foods, real foods, unprocessed foods. Once again, I'm going to have at least 3 meals a day. I'm going to get X amount of protein for my body weight, X amount of carbs, X amount of fats. I'm going to make sure I'm having, a serving, 3 to 5 maximum servings of fruit and vegetables a day. I'm going to make sure I'm getting my micronutrients. I'm going to drink plenty of water. I'm going to move. I'm going to get good sleep. Well, you know what? That trumps all of that other bullshit. Right? That's what's important. So everyone, again, missing the forest for the trees, looking specific instead of looking at the bigger picture, looking at the things that are more important. So awaken yourself to this. Don't get into pointless arguments. Don't put yourself in a category, in a box. Hey, if you're plant-based, that's cool, right? It's like religion. If you want to believe in whatever you want to believe in, that's fine. But the moment you start preaching that shit and you start saying, hey, this is better, this is superior, is the point where you've gone too far. And you don't have a right, because everyone has the right at the moment, and let's hope it stays this way, because freedom of speech is quickly going, to believe in whatever they want to believe in. And if you're not hurting anyone else, go for it. So again, keep that in mind with this. Don't put yourself in a box just because you think you want to be with a crew. It's the same in the gym. I'm a power builder or power lifter, or I'm a bodybuilder, I'm a CrossFitter. It's like, hey man, you know what? I love bodybuilding. That's, I guess, the category. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, we're all trying to move, right? Whether you're a CrossFitter, whether you're a powerlifter, we're this, and I could say for and against, and yes, I'm going to be biased to bodybuilding, but I'm not going to say bodybuilding's the best. However, if someone says, I want to build muscle, then I might say, well, bodybuilding's probably one of the best things you can do, right? Might not be the only thing, but it's going to be one of the best. So when it comes to things like that, it is. But again, it's about understanding the bigger picture. So open your mind to that and keep that forefront when you're watching these things, and just in life in general. You'll be much more open, you'll make better decisions, and you'll probably make a lesser fool of yourself. The healthier for unhealthy people. So for example, I think there was a lot of claims, and there is a lot of claims, for example, people have they did the blood tests and the nutritional preferences and people losing weight and feeling better. Okay, so you get most general population people who don't understand anything about nutrition, have really bad habits, are over consuming and processed meats and processed foods, and you put them on a plant-centric or a plant-based diet. Yes, they're going to lose weight. Yes, they're going to have a better health profile and blood work, because it's a lot better than what they were doing before. But if these people were also put on, again, something which was much more sustainable, much more, congruent to their health, for example, less processed meats, more lean cuts of meats, yes, still have your plant-based, your fruits and vegetables undulated throughout that as well, having them in a calorie deficit if they want to lose weight, their profile would be just as good. They would still achieve the same amount of health, period. So again, it's coming from a bias angle. When we actually zoom out and look at it from a different perspective, we go, oh yeah, hang on, of course, like someone who's abusing food and then goes all of a sudden and eats lots of vegetables and plants, it's probably a good idea because they've not had any for a while. So keep that in mind. Again, it's contextual. It's like when studies come out, it's always contextual. And the last thing is, it's a fad. Just like most things, it's designed to get views. It's designed to generate money and generate income. I think there was a bit of a hidden agenda towards supplementation once again. Because one of the things that you're going to struggle to get in if you're plant-based is, getting your protein in. And one of the other things, the other nutrients which you're going to overconsume on is fiber, and that doesn't make for good toilet time. More fiber is not better. You can only process so much a day, and when you start to overload on that, you're going to have some GI dysfunction. Toilet time is going to not be a good time at all, and you're going to start to upset your stomach a lot. You're going to feel very bloated, etc. And again, you're going to have to really switch on to get your protein in. So if you're someone who's watching this channel, I imagine you want to look and feel better, you have an interest in building muscle, aesthetics, losing weight, protein and getting sufficient amounts of protein is going to be high on your agenda list in terms of nutrition. So by handicapping yourself and going plant-based, it's probably not worth it. And the last thing I want to say is, if you're going to go plant-based, there's one main reason you should go plant-based, okay? And that is if it's an ethical decision. If it's something that you believe in because you ethically don't like eating meat, then go for it, okay? Now, I am not for animal cruelty. I think it's horrible, but there is, as I made this example to a client the other day, there's also a lot of other bad shit going on in the world right now that unfortunately I can't control. And that's not ignorance, that's just fact. There's probably people right now doing horrible things, I won't name them, okay? Right now, and I can't prevent it because, one, I don't know where and how it's happening. I don't have the skills, the tools, the resources to stop it, but I can obviously not support it. But just by buying a little bit of meat, and you're one person who buys meat, and yes, you can argue millions of people stop buying meat, is that going to stop it? Well, it might hinder it a little bit, but not really. It's more about getting to the root cause of the people or the organizations who are doing this and then reverse engineering it. And perhaps it's one of the things where eventually we might eat meat off agar plates grown in labs. Okay, but again, you look at equilibrium, you look at the food chain, you look at human cycle, it's what we do, survival of the fittest. Okay, so yes, we do kill animals. It's something that we do to survive, and meat tastes good. Now, I think this should definitely be done in a humane way, and I'm not for animal cruelty. I'm completely against it. I love animals, and you know, it very much upsets me when I see things like that, and it's again not something I condone. But the reality of it is, there's always going to be bad in this world, and there's always going to be good, and you can definitely support the good, and you can do your very best to, you know, create a positive impact. But I don't think by having a little bit of meat in your diet personally is going to be detrimental to the world, to society, or again achieving, you know, a lifestyle which might be more conducive to better health, which means you can do more positive things and have a positive impact on other people in your life too. So I'm going to leave it there. That's just my opinion, team. Okay, so a disclaimer, this is just my thoughts and feedback based on what I know, based on what I've learned, based on some actual evidence and some literature, and then again topped and snow-capped with my own opinions on this subject. So a little bit of food for thought, okay? Keep that in mind when you're watching all of these things on TV. Personally, don't watch television myself. I don't even have Netflix anymore. I've stopped watching it because, I mean, I like to watch other things. I like to read books and spend time with people, and you definitely still know what's going on, and you can easily YouTube or jump around at a friend's and have a watch of these series. It's really easy. You'll not be out the loop. But just keep in mind that TV is designed to get views, and there's a lot of biases, and one of the best things I ever did is stop watching TVs. You will be happier. Read books, spend time with people, watch some movies, yeah sure, but be in control of what you actually put into your brain, because a lot of it is subconscious and it's negative, and it taints your mindset. There is another good quote as well. I'll let you ponder on this one. And again, not everyone wants success, and it's not about materialistic things, but this really sort of hammers home a point about TV. And a friend said to me a while ago, you know, have you noticed how Lamborghini don't advertise on TV? And you know, like, why do you think that is? And it was like, well, you know, I don't know. And it's like, well, people who buy Lamborghinis don't watch TV, you know? That's not where their audience is. They're usually running businesses or doing something which is providing a greater cause. Not always, but again, people who have above average are usually putting in above average. So I'll leave you with that, team. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the video, share it around, make sure you get the word out, help some people out, and of course, subscribe for more weekly videos, a lot more coming, as always, team. And make sure you jump on to Fearless Training United, put your name down for the academy. That's going to be live for everybody as of next week. It is live now, so you can put your name down for a few specific individuals in my exclusive coaching realm. So if that's one of you, you will have access now. But if not, and you're one of the general public, you will have access by early next week. or the start of this week, depending when this video goes live. So thank you for all your support, team, as always. And in the meantime, as always, stay fearless.
That's actually quite good. What's the saddest plant? A weeping widow. What do you call a nervous tree? A sweaty palm. Why do plants go to therapy? To get to the root of their problems. Anyway.